Okay, please proceed.
Okay. Again, I'd like to welcome everybody, see if we can get through this. This is a new experience for most of us. The Committee of Adjustment has never had a virtual meeting before, but we understand that everything is a legal thing, and if we go through this, it's a real meeting. So anyway, welcome everybody again. I'd like to follow the agenda. Don't know I think we're pretty good for background noise. Other meetings, if we've had a lot of background noise, we've asked people to put their device on mute if they're not talking. But I think we're okay in this time. Anyway, we'll start off by I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 12th. Approval of the agenda, I guess, is the first item.
I'll so move, Brent.
I'll second it, Brent.
Okay, any discussion, additions? Call the motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Because it's a Zoom meeting, all votes are supposed to be recorded votes, I believe.
Okay. You okay with that, Mary Ann?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, any pecuniary interests or conflicts that anybody has with the two items were on the agenda?
None here.
None?
None here.
Okay, good. I don't have any either. Okay, approval of the minutes of the December 18th, 2019 meeting. Again, looking for a motion.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, those in favor?
It has to be a recorded vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, Councilor Blanc says aye.
On a recorded vote, I don't think I have to vote, do I?
Only to break a tie, but Mary Ann has to
Yeah,
Mary Ann has to call the vote each individual. They say yay or nay.
yeah. We don't put your hand up. We'll do it audio.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, statement of the purpose of the meeting. We start off with the application from Darren Lever. Daryl, were you going to go over the application and your what do we call it, the recommendations?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, applicant. This application is requesting relief from the Brighton Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw to allow a height for detached garage increase from 14.76 feet to 16 feet as per section 7.6 of the bylaw. The subject property is located in Part Lot 31, Concession 4 at 234 Rush Road in Codrington. The property is a corner lot. It has a frontage of approximately 177 feet on County Road 41, as well as an area of 1.23 acres. The property is currently occupied by a single detached dwelling, inclusive of an attached garage, and the application is seeking permission to construct a new detached garage of approximately 1,120 square feet in area. Access to the property is from Rush Road. Similarly, access to the new garage will be from Rush Road as well. The property is designated as agricultural area in the Northumberland County official plan, and that does permit residential uses on the existing lots, and this is an existing lot. The application is considered to uphold the relevant policies of the county OP. The subject property is also designated agricultural in the municipality's OP, and similarly, non-farm residential uses are also permitted, as well as any accessory use, permitted use. Therefore, the application is thus considered consistent with the municipality's OP. Property is currently zoned rural residential exception 45, and as a result of an application for a zoning bylaw amendment in 2017, the proposed detached garage was permitted to proceed with a relief in the form of an exterior side yard setback, being to 22 feet. However, at the time, that zoning bylaw amendment did not recognize any relief in the minimum required height. Mr. Chairman, comments received on this application to date have been limited to Enbridge Gas, which has stated no objection. With respect to the 4 tests of a minor variance under the Planning Act, the general intent and purpose of the official plan, in our opinion, the application before the committee recognizes and otherwise maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plans. The general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Approval of this proposal would serve to permit a detached garage accessory to the permitted residential use. In our opinion, the general intent and purpose of the bylaw is being maintained. As well, the application will enable a detached garage to be constructed on the property, which would increase storage for the lot and the lot owner. The subject minor variance serves to recognize the height of the proposed garage, which was not recognized according to bylaw number 100, 2017, which did recognize a relief in the exterior side yard. There are no anticipated impacts on surrounding property owners. Therefore, the application is considered desirable and appropriate. The minor variance will permit an increased height of an accessory structure by 0.4 meters or 1.3 feet, and accordingly, the minor variance is therefore considered to be minor in nature.
Thank you, Daryl. Darren, did you want to add to that?
No, that pretty much covers it.
Okay, well then, and I understood, Daryl, that there was no other correspondence.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. To the best of my knowledge, there were no other comments received, both for or against.
Okay. And is there anyone else that wants to speak in favor or against the application? Hearing none, we're open for general discussion. Any questions for Darren or Daryl?
Yeah, I just have one. When the zoning bylaw was passed a couple years ago, was it the same proposed garage, or was it different, or it was just missed or not captured, as Daryl put it?
Through the chair, the application, my understanding was that it was not specifically identified as being the subject of the site-specific zoning, and therefore was not included in the bylaw. I'm not sure of prior history. That was before my time.
Doug, you had a question?
No, he asked the identical question I was going to ask, and I agree with the answer. I like it. Thank you.
Okay. My only question is, as far as a laneway to get into the garage, I mean, it's not our jurisdiction, but would there have to be a culvert and a driveway put in, or?
It's already existing.
You're going to use the existing driveway that goes into that cannabis building?
Over to meet the garage.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's planning's understanding as well, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing here.
Okay, I think we're ready for a motion then.
I'll put a motion up that we accept this and pass this, the bylaw.
And I'll second.
And assuming that the provisions in the recommendation are met as well, is that part of your motion?
Yes, as long as everything's met.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, we'll call the motion. Motion is to accept the application with the provisions as laid out in the recommendations. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, I think that's good. I don't know if this is an appropriate comment or not, but the height of garages has come before this committee before. And is the bylaw overly restrictive? And if so, should it be modified? And again, I don't think that's up to our committee, but the people that are here, Doug on council and Daryl, Marianne, is this something that should be considered? It's just a question.
The question would be to Daryl. Daryl, should I be bringing up a motion for this bylaw to be looked at? Staff?
Yeah, I think that an appropriate height seems like 5 meters would, instead of 4.5, would be an appropriate height for an accessory building.
Through the chair, first of all, the zoning bylaw most recently went through quite a rigorous update and review. To the best of my knowledge, there were no issues or comments or concerns brought forth by anyone participating in the public consultation with respect to the maximum height of an accessory building. Yes, both in the municipality of Brighton and other municipalities which work in, there comes time to time various proposals looking for some relief to build a garage a little higher to maintain the roof style or what have you, or gain a little extra storage. However, the intent of the bylaw is to simply maintain a maximum height standard throughout the rural area, as well as within urban areas, of course. So we look at it in terms of if there is a specific individual, such as in this case, Mr. Lever, who is wishing to build something higher, that it warrants a more microscopic look at it in terms of surrounding property owners and whatnot. I would suggest, though, Mr. Chairman, that it is unfortunate that this little bit of relief in height was not picked up in 2017 when the property was the subject of a zoning bylaw amendment. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's proceed with the next application from Troy O'Neill. Again, Daryl, would you go over your recommendations?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This application, A03-2020, is in the name of Mr. Troy O'Neill. It's requesting relief from the minimum rear yard setback from 24.6 feet to 19.78 feet, and from the minimum interior side yard from 9.84 feet to 8.53 feet. As well, there is a attached rear yard deck on the proposed dwelling, and that also requires the committee's approval to grant relief in the setback according to the bylaw from 7.81 feet to 4.5 meters to 2.38 meters. The subject property is located at Part Lot 2, Concession 7, and is known municipally as 39 Bryce Drive in Orland. It has a frontage of 150 feet and a lot area of 0.6 acres. The property, since its creation in 1989, has remained vacant. And if I could inform the committee that I've been aware of this property for at least 2 years, and the prior owner, the original owner, has gone through what I would consider to be necessary for that owner to actually appear before the board of Lower Trent in order to get permission to even allow development on the property. The proposal before the committee today is, of course, in the name of Mr. O'Neill. And he is seeking the relief in order to develop the property in the form of a single detached dwelling. The property is designated as being within the rural settlement area in Northumberland County official plan, which does include or permits single detached dwellings. The application is considered to uphold the relevant policies of the county plan. The subject property is designated hamlet in the municipality's official plan, which similarly permits a mix of uses, including residential, as well as accessory uses to any permitted uses. The application is therefore considered consistent with the municipality's official plan. And lastly, the property is also zoned hamlet residential or HR. Development of dwelling is otherwise, apart from the requested relief being considered by this committee, is also expected to proceed with compliance to the other provisions of the bylaws, such as front yard, maximum lot coverage, and what have you. It's our opinion that the application therefore considered to maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw. Comments received to date are from Enbridge Gas, no objection. Lower Trent, no objection. The County of Northumberland Inspection Services vis-a-vis the septic system, no objection. So to paraphrase, the general intent purpose of the official plan, in our opinion, is being maintained by this application. Similarly, the general intent purpose of the zoning bylaw, given that this is an existing vacant lot of record, is also being maintained. The proposed development is of comprises a property which is similar in size and orientation with the neighboring properties, both of which are developed on either side. And the proposed dwelling is of a similar size and location to those neighboring dwellings. The proposed dwelling will also be buffered physically and visually by a number of mature trees located on the property, thereby mitigating any potential impact on neighboring properties. Therefore, in our opinion, the application is therefore considered desirable and appropriate. The variance, if approved, would decrease the minimum interior side yard setback by 2.76 feet in the rear yard, by 4.82 feet. In our opinion, the variance is therefore considered to be minor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Teague. Mr. Neal, would you like to add to that?
I don't think there's anything needed to add. Daryl covered it off fairly directly there, so.
Okay. Any questions for either Mr. O'Neill or Mr. Teague?
I just a couple here. I went through the Lower Trent comments there, and they had some not issues, but some questions about significant woodlot or woodland and all that. And just for Daryl's, has there anything been done on woodlands, like assessing them or anything in the county or in township municipality?
Through the chair, good question, Brett, because the county started about a year and a half ago, maybe developing its own natural heritage mapping system. And in fact, they've since hired an outside consultant to do that work. My understanding is that it has proceeded, albeit at a snail's pace. It has not yet. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, the proposed natural features mapping undertaken by the county is nowhere near fruition, in my opinion. I think it would be a couple of years before it comes before it comes to a public consultation process.
Okay. And just another one was they mentioned that the septic system, they wanted a tertiary system. Is that what's going in? Is it a tertiary septic system?
That's my understanding. However, perhaps the applicant can clarify that.
Yes. So, are you guys still there?
Yeah, you're in and out, but
Sorry, I lost all video there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're using a Elgin style system. It's they suggested a Waterloo biofilter system, but Elgin is basically the same thing, but it's a lot more user friendly. And according to the county, it's the better route to go.
okay. And I guess just finally, there was your Lower Trent permit.
Yep.
Stipulates some mitigation and silt fence, I think, and all that.
Yep.
I'm not sure whose responsibility is to sort of enforce that. Is that the Lower Trent or is it the municipalities, Daryl, or somebody?
Through the chair, it's my understanding that would be administered by the municipality through a combination of public works as well as the chief building official.
Okay, thank you. That's everything I have, Doug.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barnes. Councillor LeBlanc, do you have any questions, comments?
Again, the other gentleman took all my questions away from me, and I'm satisfied with all the answers we got. Thank you very much for asking those questions. I guess we read it the same thing.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. So if there's no more discussion, I think we're ready for a motion as well.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to conditions outlined in the planner's report.
I second that motion.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Call the motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. I think we're in good condition here. Is there anything else that we need to cover, Mariana? Or do you got?
I do have notice of decisions that we would normally sign for everyone at the end of the meeting. We do accept e-signatures according to the clerk's office. So what I can do is forward to the committee members each of the notice of decision, and with an email reply, we will then set that up as our confirmation until we're able to maybe meet in the future to formally sign the document, even though I do have signatures on hand from previous meetings. Daryl, do you have an opinion on how that can be set up?
Through the chair, I believe it would be appropriate to individually issue the notices of decision and have the corresponding signatures affixed thereon, as opposed to transferring from a prior application.
So I'll send out 3 decisions by mail and then have the return document as our formal notice.
That's correct.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, that sounds good, because then we have an official signature and no question about an e-signature. So I think that's a good way to go.
Very
Thank you.
good.
And
Can I ask one question? We weren't allowed to give out building permits till after the 12th of May. This is for Marianne and Daryl. Are we still not issuing building permits, or are we issuing now? Has the government changed or given them any direction on this?
The government has not lifted the restrictions yet to actually formally issue a building permit number for our applications that are arriving at the office. But we are still able to circulate and have everything examined so that as soon as restriction is lifted, we'll then be able to issue.
Okay.
So we're hoping that within this 20-day review period, that you'll be able to issue those building permits.
Correct.
I'm sure that's what Mr. O'Neill's hoping at least.
Yes, yes.
Getting cabin fever in the apartment.
Okay, well, I think this was a bit of an experiment today. I think we were pretty much successful. It'll go smoother the next time, I'm sure. But we got through it successfully. And, thank you.
Yes.
I think we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'll be in touch.
Thank you, everyone. Be safe.
Thank you, folks.
Be
Take
safe.
care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.